I'm not out training the category. I want to stay in the category. So I'm not overeating to get too big to that. The only reason why I got bigger this offseason because they told me I had some room to put a couple more pounds on. We're baby bodybuilders now. There's no way you're gonna look at a men's physique guy and say there's no way that's not bodybuilding. We were amateurs, but we were looking at what the pros look like. So we were training like pros. We were like, no, we're gonna come in hard, dry, and conditioned, and big and muscular. To me, Classic represents the artsy side. It is showing you straight up art in Classic.
Andre, what's going on, man?
Not much, man.
Thanks to you so much for coming into this. I was looking forward to this one right here. Looking forward to that one, man.
Yeah.
You seem like a good interviewer, man. You know how to answer questions.
I answer the questions. I answer the questions.
For sure, man. Well, it seems like it's your year. It's going really great for you so far.
It's been a good 2 years.
Good 2 years.
2.5 to 3. But this is the year. This is the year we've been working for this moment.
Just won the Arnold Classic.
Yeah.
Just a few months ago. How did it feel?
It felt really good because that was after the New York Pro. That was when I wanted, because I want the titles. Like I look at people like Phil and Dexter and all of them. They don't just have Olympias; they have all the titles. Like I look at Jeremy. Yeah, he's got 4 Olympias, and that's the mountain of all mountains. But he doesn't have all the other titles. Like I look at Dexter. Dexter was just doing the New York Pro 2 years ago. Dexter did the Arnold this year. Like he's been Mr. Olympia. Why is he still doing them? Why? Because he wants all the titles. Dexter has what? How many Arnolds does he have? 9 or something? He's like an abnormal amount of Arnolds. Guy's got 25 pro wins.
Right.
Like I need stats like that.
Well, a lot of times people want to get the Olympia, they just seem to only do Olympia, right? That sometimes happens also. A lot of times.
But I don't kind of consider you the greatest anymore then.
You want to be the greatest.
It's like having the rings but not having the stats. If you're playing basketball, right? You can have the rings, but if you look at Michael Jordan, you look at Kobe, you look at LeBron, they have the rings and the stats. They don't just got the rings and they don't just got the stats. Charles Barkley just got the stats. And then you got people like, all right, Robert Horry. Robert Horry got a bunch of rings. He got like 7, 8, but he ain't got the stats.
I see what you're saying.
So to me, I want both.
You want to be the greatest.
Of course. Of course.
Can you be the greatest men's physique competitor of all time?
Yes. Oh, yes.
Now, men's physique, let's talk about this division. Some people, I'll be very honest with you, they just don't respect it. Do you see that? Do you ever get that?
Yeah, I do, but it's fading away because the reason why they don't respect it is because they still have the bad taste of what it was when it first was introduced, and it really wasn't bodybuilding. If you look at men's physique from 2011, 2012, around that time period, those weren't really bodybuilders. It was more like a beach look with a little bit of muscle, and the conditioning wasn't even there. It was like more of a softer look. Like they didn't want you coming in as hard as we come in now. That was the standard. They did not want you as hard as we come in now. But then over time and evolution, like everything else, it became baby bodybuilding. We're baby bodybuilders now. There's no way you're gonna look at a men's physique guy and say there's no way that's not bodybuilding. The top guys are bodybuilders.
Right.
The top guys could do more. The top guys could shut it down for a year, do training, and go to another division if they wanted to. I'm not saying they'd be as successful as they are in men's physique, but they'd be competitive. They could go out there and get some first call outs and be in some top 5s and top 3s in other divisions. Men's physique, I could even we'll take say somebody who goes pro at light, heavy, or middleweight, and they have to go sit down for 2 years to actually be a threat in the open or actually try to be competitive. If I went down and sat down for 2 years from where I am right now, I could be competitive, just as competitive as the guy that goes pro at Miami Nationals or Team U in light, heavy, or middleweight. I'd be just as competitive as them. Why can't I put on the same muscle you can? I can. I'm just basically staying in my category. I'm not out training the category. I want to stay in the category. So I'm not overeating to get too big to that. The only reason why I got bigger this offseason because they told me I had some room to put a couple more pounds on. If not, I would have kept coming in at my same old 184, 185.
Yeah, because it seems like if you're saying so over the years, like I think it started in 2012, right? Or 2011.
I think 11 to 12. I've been competing since 13 too.
Right. So almost from the beginning.
Yeah, I've been around for a while.
So over the years, they were getting a little bit bigger as well, more muscular. It was
more muscular and harder. Conditioning is one of I'll give you an example. My first show I did ever, it was in Lehigh Valley in Pennsylvania. And if I showed you the pictures, you would say that I was the best looking person on the stage. Me and my homeboy went. Me and my homeboy both got last place in our divisions. And the feedback was, you guys are middleweight bodybuilders in this circuit. You guys are not men's physique competitors. You guys are middleweight bodybuilders. Because we were amateurs, but we were looking at what the pros looked like. So we were training like pros. We were like, no, we're going to come in hard, dry, and conditioned, and big and muscular. And then we get there and we're like, wait a minute, but isn't this what the pros look like? Yeah, but we don't want you to look like pros. And I was like, huh? But now, if you go to a national level show, the top guys look like pros already.
But is there like a limit? Like you can't go over that? Like is that where do you draw that line?
It's a fine line, but it's kind of just like you got to get feedback, because there's no weight limit or anything like that to force you in a box where there's a standard, but the standard kind of is just visually looking at the other guys in the top. So if you're bigger than me, Jeremy, Raymond, or George Brown, you're too big for the division.
Some people say, well, now the classic came in the picture, right? Everybody's looking at the men's physique as some kind of a stage one to get to classic. You know what I mean? It's almost like they're discrediting like the fact that this is your division, this is what you do. You know what I'm saying? They look at it as some kind of transition to go to classic. Like how do you see that?
That's like saying 212 is a transition to the open. It's not. Tell Flex Lewis that. Ask Flex Lewis why he's not transitioning to the open. And he'd look at you like you're crazy. And if you told me why I'm not transitioning to classic, I'd look at you crazy too. It's bodybuilding. This is just a division I choose to be in. And why? I'm really good in this division. I'm dominating. Why not continue to dominate? That's what Flex is doing. Flex could probably put on the couple more pounds and go to the open. He gets trained by his coach is the same person as William Bonnick's coach. And not for nothing, they're around the same height. So what makes you think Flex couldn't put on the same muscle William has? And Flex is thick. Like I was asking Steve the other day, I was like, yo, dude, have you seen his weight on the scale weighing in? Because I still don't believe that's 212 pounds. And he said he's seen it on the scale. Because Flex looks 240 to me. That doesn't look 212. Right. And he squeezes it down to 212. Why? Because he's got 5-6 titles in the division. Why would he leave and chase something that's in front of him? He's already he's getting everything he wants in life. I'm not going to go chase something when I have it sitting right here. It's like, if you're dating what you consider the best girl in the world, there's no reason to chase another one. But if what you're dating is not what you consider the best girl in the world, you might start chasing other ones.
That's a great analogy.
But if you have the one that you think is the best girl in the world, she does everything that you really require out of a female, and everyone requires different things out of a female. But if it's what you require, yo, bro, what do you need? You don't need much more. And that's what I look at. That's how I look at it. I know that's how Flex looks at it. Everything I want is sitting in front of me right here. I'm not chasing it. It's sitting in front of me.
How do you see classic division? Like, what do you think about it?
I love it. I love it because to me, classic represents the artsy side. It is showing you straight up art in classic. To me, the open is impressive. Like those guys are impressive. It's not necessarily art. Their poses are stiff. Front bicep is just straight up like this. You watch Breon do a front double bi. It's art. It's not just showing you a pose straight up. Bodybuilding is just, to me, classic is more of, oh, we're flowing with it. We're flowing with it. We're showing you the flow of the physique. We're not just showing you impressive muscle. We're showing you flow. We're showing you angles. Like even Regan won the New York Pro. And I think like he put a post on his page the other day and he's like, what do you guys think I need to work on going into Olympia? And I was gonna comment, but I didn't. But my comment would have been this: body-wise, you don't have to work on anything, but you have to take yourself out of being a bodybuilder. You're still doing all your poses. Like you do a front double bi and you're hitting a vacuum. I understand you're hitting a vacuum, so that's part of the classic look. But work on your angles. Don't just show them the pose straight on. Show them the pose with a little bit of angle to it. Create the art side of it now. So when you look at the pose, it just looks like art. It's just beauty.
Do you wish they would have let you guys pose more in the physique, like actually? Because some people say it's not as, you know, it's not posing necessarily. It's more like you just, you know, you kind of stand and do that.
No, I appreciate every division for what it is. And what I mean by that is this. I appreciate the open for what it is. I appreciate classic for what it is. I appreciate 212, and I appreciate men's physique. What our job is to do, it's not posing, it's looking good standing there. So you have to build your aesthetics to a point where you don't have to pose to look good. I can look good just standing here. You can have a guy in classic, or even a guy in the open, that isn't necessarily the best looking guy standing there, but he will outpose you. And you will lose to him.
Yeah.
Because you can outpose people.
So the challenge is for you just to look good
Standing there. And that, to me, that is, it's a harder challenge looking good standing there than it is to outpose somebody. You can't outpose me. We both are standing here. Who looks better? You or him? In classic, it's like you watch the stage and you're like, wait a minute, this guy looks really good, but he's letting that guy outpose him. Same thing in the open. When you're in the open, something like a side chest, you can lose the pose even though you have a better chest because the guy's outposing you. That's the difference in the divisions to me. And I like men's physique because the job is to look good standing there.
Is it a misconception that people say you don't have to train your legs as hard?
You don't have to train them as hard if you don't want to, but it's like this. That's like someone telling them, oh, your nose is running, but you don't got to pick your nose. Like, you can do whatever the hell you want to. It's like, if you want to train your legs, you can. If you don't want to, you don't have to. If you want to train them like hard like a bodybuilder, you can do that too. But they're not being scored, so they don't matter. Everyone now has some form of legs under those board shorts. They might not have impressive bodybuilder legs, but trust me, they're training.